Hello and welcome all of you to New IAS. This is a video where we are going to discuss the 2024 mains questions. We are discussing them thematically and we are starting with art and culture. The first theme or the first question that we are going to discuss is a 10 marker from Vedic civilization. This was the very first question for the 2024 mains GS1 paper, and the question is: underline the changes in the field of society and economy from Rigvedic to later Vedic period. So it's a question clearly from Rigvedic and later Vedic period. It's a very holistic question covering a long period starting from the Rigvedic time to the later Vedic time, and the dimensions of this question are society and economy. So first let's look how to set an intro, then we will see whether there is a possibility of giving a map here. Then we will go into the body part where we will discuss the structure, and we will conclude the discussion with a conclusion. Now, how do we start this question? As I said, the question is clearly from a period, the Vedic civilization. So let's give the nature of the period in the first place. Now, Vedic civilization is an Iron Age civilization. It comes after the Hinduswadi civilization, which was a Bronze Age civilization, and Vedic civilization is an Iron Age civilization centered around Indo-Gangetic plain. So in the introduction itself, we can give the nature of the civilization and its geographical location, and then we can give the time period of both Rigvedic and later Vedic period. Rigvedic period starts from 1500 BCE to 1000 BCE, and later Vedic period starts from 1000 BCE to 500 BCE. So if we can include all these data points and facts in the introduction, it will be a very well value-added introduction. Now, as I've said, it is a civilization that is centered around Indo-Gangetic plain. If you look at the map of Indo-Gangetic plain in 600 BC, you can see every Mahajanapada marked in it. So if you don't remember all the Mahajanapadas, at least give some of them and give the location of Indo-Gangetic plain. That will add value to your answer. Coming to the body part, the question itself talks about two different dimensions. One is society and one is economy. And on both these fronts, you have to mark the changes from Rigvedic to later Vedic time. So we can structure it as a whole, and the division within that would be society and economy. Here we have structured it like that: changes in the society first and changes in the economy after that. And under each point, we have given a minimum of 5 points. So this is a 10-mark question. We have given 5 points each in two parts, apart from the introduction, map and conclusion. Now let's take the changes in the society first. If you take the Rigvedic society, the basic feature of that society is a loose Varna system. That's a society where Varna system evolves. And you have to be very clear that Varna system is different from caste system. Varna is a loose division based on occupational classification, whereas caste is very rigid and it's clearly stratified. In Varna system, you can see that Rigvedic society has a Varna system, and caste, there are new evolutions like the Kshatriya dominance or the creation of the caste called Shudras. These are happenings that takes place in the later Vedic period. So loosely we mark this point as a transition from Varna to rigid caste system, and as examples we will give the Kshatriya dominance and the Shudra part. The second point is the society aspect is the decline in the status of women. So whenever we think of society, we think of the social stratification, we think of women, we think of religion, and hence the same division, the same framework is followed here. Second point is with respect to women. In early Vedic period, you have very prominent women like Apala, Lopamudra, Kosha. These are women who participated even in yagas and yajnas. But when it comes to the later Vedic period, their participation gradually diminishes, and that is an important change in the social front. The third point is with respect to the rituals, or it's a point on religion. In early Vedic period, the emphasis was more on fire-based rituals, whereas in the later Vedic period, you can see more complex yatnas, like for example, the Ashwamedha. Whatever I have marked in yellow shade are important keywords that should be used as value additions for this particular answer. On the other side, the fourth point is with respect to the oral tradition or with respect to education. Both in early Vedic and later Vedic period, the tradition is oral. The Vedas, the Upanishads, the Brahmanas, everything is get transferred through oral tradition or the Shruti tradition. In later Vedic period, this tradition has a social hierarchy embedded in it, which means people belonging to the lower caste cannot take place or participate in this oral tradition, lower caste as well as women. So it's an extension of the previous point, but it is with respect to the nature of education in the Vedic society. The next point is with respect to kinship. So these are general points with respect to the evolution of a civilization. You're just placing it in the context of Vedic civilization. In the early Vedic period, you have loose kinship based structure. In later Vedic period, you have a patriarchal family structure, more rigid, more structured. In early Vedic period, it is a point on the political front. You have Janas. Jana is the place where the tribe sets its food. In the later Vedic period, it has evolved into Mahajanapadas, a more sophisticated form of polity. So if you take the case of society, we have 6 points given with proper examples and proper dimensions. Coming to the second dimension of this question, it is the economic dimension. So first we'll mark the nature of the subsistence of the economy. So early Vedic period is an economy based on cattle. Later Vedic period is an economy based on agriculture. That too Iron Age civilization. So iron plow is an important element in later Vedic period. It is mentioned in the Brahmana texts. Brahmanas are commentaries on the Upanishads. Brahmana commentaries on the Vedas. Brahmanas, Aranyakas, Upanishads are commentaries on the Vedas, and in Brahmanas you have mentions about iron plow. The second aspect, the transition in the economic front, is with respect to coins or with respect to economy in general. You have coins called Nishka and Karshapana in the later Vedic period. In the early Vedic period, it's more of a barter system. You also have enhanced role of guilds, trade guilds, and Vaishya as a trading community in the later Vedic period. The third point here is with respect to the ownership of land. In early Vedic period, it's a more of a tribal kinship based society. So the ownership of land is community based. Whereas in the later Vedic period, you have traces of land grants starting. For example, you know land being donated to Brahmins by kings are known as Brahmanas or the Brahmadeyas. I'm sorry, it's not Brahmanas, it's Brahmadeyas. Agraharas are the settlements that Brahmins make in that land. So such traces can be traced in the later Vedic period. Then the final point in the second part is with respect to craft specialization. In later Vedic period, an important pottery is painted grey ware, and it reflects the nature of specialization with respect to crafts. So with these 4 points, we have covered the economic transition as well. Now we have seen a good introduction, a value-added introduction, a proper map, 2 proper dimensions, and how do we conclude this answer? We conclude this by invoking the literary tradition of that period, which is Puranas and Idihasas. Puranas and Idihasas, the dates of which is conflicted, but roughly we calculate around 300 BC to 300 AD. But this particular text or literary tradition reflects the nature of the society and economy of that period, which is the dimension in this answer as well. So we conclude this answer by placing the literary tradition, and we also say that the legacy of the Vedic civilization is still present in contemporary society in the form of patriarchy, caste, etc. So we are finishing this answer with the legacy and connecting it with the contemporary period. So I think for a 10 marker, this is a holistic answer. We'll come back with yet another question of the 2024 mains. Thank you for listening.